The banging on the door made Sarah Martinez drop the plate she was washing. 8:47 p.m. They were early. "Final notice. Open up. Sheriff's Department." "Mommy?" Emma's voice from the bedroom was small, terrified. "Who's at the door?" Sarah's hands shook as she pressed against the wood, seeing uniforms through the peephole. 3 days. The eviction notice had said 3 days, and she'd counted on having until Friday to figure something out. "Mrs. Martinez, we know you're in there. Open the door or we'll have to force entry. If I don't find a way out, I'm going to lose everything," her mind screamed as she heard Emma's feet padding closer. "My baby is about to watch us get thrown onto the street. I have to make a change for Emma and me. Tonight." "Just a minute," Sarah called, her voice cracking. She spun around, grabbing Emma's school backpack and stuffing it with whatever clothes she could reach. The $400 hidden in the coffee can, their entire savings, went into her purse. "Mommy, I'm scared." Emma clutched her stuffed rabbit, tears streaming. "Baby, remember when we talked about adventures?" Sarah forced a smile, throwing their coats on. "We're going on one right now. Out the back, quiet as mice." The banging intensified. "Last warning." They slipped out the back door as the front one splintered open. Sarah carried Emma down the fire escape, her daughter's tears hot against her neck, their entire life reduced to 2 bags, and the sound of boots storming through their now former home. In the alley, Sarah set Emma down and wiped her face. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's going to fix this, I promise." But as she looked at her daughter, 8 years old, shivering in the March cold, homeless because her mother couldn't make rent, Sarah knew she'd do anything, become anyone, to never see that fear in Emma's eyes again. Anything. "You can't stay here." Maya stood in her doorway at midnight, but her eyes were on Emma's tear-stained face. "Of course you can't. Get inside before someone calls CPS." Her studio apartment was pristine, organized, everything Sarah's life wasn't. Law books stacked precisely, the smell of success and stability. "Just for tonight," Sarah whispered, settling Emma on the couch. "I'll figure something out tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" Maya's voice pitched high. "Sarah, you just got evicted, actually evicted, with Emma watching. Do you understand how serious this is?" "You think I don't know that?" Sarah's control snapped. "You think I wanted my daughter to see that? To run from cops like we're criminals? Then why didn't you ask for help? I could have." "What? Paid my rent?" "Again? How many times, Maya? How many times before you start seeing me the way everyone else does? As a failure who can't take care of her own kid?" Maya grabbed her shoulders hard enough to hurt. "I see my sister destroying herself, and now it's affecting Emma. This isn't just about your pride anymore." "Pride?" Sarah laughed bitterly. "I clean toilets for tips. I haven't slept more than 4 hours in months. My daughter just became homeless on my watch. What pride? Mom could help. Mom's eating cat food to save money for her medications. Don't lie to me." Maya's face crumbled. "Then what's your plan? Because whatever you've been doing isn't working." Sarah looked at Emma, curled up with her rabbit, finally asleep but whimpering in her dreams. The weight of failure crushed down until she could barely breathe. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to give her a real life." Maya's expression shifted to something Sarah recognized too well: fear. "That's what scares me. Whatever it takes is how desperate people justify terrible decisions." She's right, Sarah thought, but desperate is all I have left. The next morning, Tiffany found them at the diner where Sarah was begging for her job back. "Oh, honey, no." Tiffany took in their rumpled clothes, the bags under the booth. "The eviction happened last night." Sarah kept her voice low, Emma coloring quietly beside her. "In front of her. That's it. Universe is sending you a sign." Tiffany slid into the booth, diamond bracelet catching the light. "Remember that charity gala I mentioned? It's tonight." "Tiv, I'm literally homeless. I can't go to some. You can't afford not to." Tiffany leaned forward, urgent. "Sarah, I'm done watching you die inch by inch. You're beautiful, smart, and you're wasting it all on minimum wage and pride. I have Emma to think about." "Exactly. Look at her." They both glanced at Emma, drawing flowers with broken crayons. "She deserves better than shelters and food stamps. One night, Sarah. One chance to meet someone who could change everything." Sarah's manager appeared. "Sorry, Sarah. I already filled your position. Maybe try the overnight shift at the truck stop." The rejection stung worse with Emma listening. Her daughter looked up, understanding too much for 8 years old. "Mommy, are we gonna be okay?" Tiffany seized the moment. "She will be, sweetie. Your mom's going to a princess party tonight." She turned to Sarah. "I have a dress, shoes, everything. My roommate can watch Emma. What do you have to lose?" Sarah looked at their bags containing everything they owned, at her daughter's worried face, at the eviction notice still crumpled in her pocket. "Nothing," she whispered. "I have nothing left to lose." The Grandview Hotel ballroom hit like a slap of everything Sarah wasn't. Crystal and gold, air that smelled like money, people who'd never known the weight of an eviction notice. "Stop looking like you're drowning," Tiffany hissed, adjusting Sarah's borrowed dress. "You belong here as much as anyone." But Sarah couldn't stop thinking about Emma, safe at Tiffany's apartment, but probably scared. This was insane. She was homeless, exhausted, and playing dress-up while her life burned down. "Leaving already?" The voice was silk and smoke. Sarah turned to find a man who looked like money had been poured into a suit. Perfect lines, perfect smile, perfect everything. "I'm considering it," she admitted. "Don't." He stepped closer, and she caught his cologne, something that probably cost more than her monthly rent used to. "Marcus Stone, and you're the most interesting person here. You don't know me. I know you're wearing a borrowed dress. I know you've checked the exits 3 times. I know you're calculating whether this was worth whatever you risked to be here." His dark eyes missed nothing. "Am I wrong?" Sarah's breath caught. "How?" "Because I recognize desperation dressed up as hope. I've been there." He offered his arm. "Let me guess. Single mother, working yourself to death, convinced there has to be something better?" "That's a very specific guess. I have a talent for reading people who are one bad day from catastrophe." His smile turned self-deprecating. "Like recognizes like. How about we skip the butterfly conservation speeches and have a real conversation?" She should have been offended. Instead, she felt seen for the first time in years. "Lead the way," she said, taking his arm and stepping toward whatever came next. On the private balcony, city lights glittering below, Marcus listened to her talk about Emma without checking his phone once. He asked real questions, laughed at her jokes, and when she mentioned being between apartments, he didn't flinch. "You're remarkable," he said as midnight approached. "Most people would have given up by now." "I have Emma. Giving up isn't an option." "What if it didn't have to be so hard?" He turned to face her fully. "I have connections, resources. I help people who deserve better." Warning bells should have rung. Instead, all Sarah heard was the echo of her daughter asking if they'd be okay. "What kind of help?" "The kind that changes lives." He pulled out his phone. "Give me your number. Let me take you to dinner tomorrow, somewhere your daughter would love." Sarah hesitated, Maya's warnings echoing. Then she remembered Emma's tears, the eviction, the shelter they'd have to check into tomorrow. She gave him the number. "You gave a stranger our location?" Maya's voice could have shattered windows. She'd shown up at Tiffany's apartment the next morning after Sarah's text about the date. "He's taking us to Le Bernardin. Emma's never been to a real restaurant." Sarah continued braiding her daughter's hair, avoiding her sister's glare. "Sarah, you're homeless. You got evicted in front of your child. And your solution is to date some random rich guy? Watch your tone, Sarah warned, glancing at Emma. Maya pulled her into the kitchen. I'm scared for you. This pattern. David left you with nothing, and now you're jumping at the first wealthy man who shows interest? This is different. Marcus actually has money. He's not some wannabe contractor with big dreams. How do you know? Did you Google him? Check references? Or did you just see dollar signs and stop thinking? I'm thinking about Emma, Sarah's control cracked. I'm thinking about not living in my sister's living room, about Emma having her own room again, about not choosing between food and medicine. And what happens when this Marcus realizes you're homeless, that you're this desperate? Maya's voice softened. Sarah, predators look for women exactly where you are right now. Maybe he's not a predator. Maybe he's just a good man who sees I'm worth something. Tears pricked Sarah's eyes. Is that so impossible? Emma appeared in the doorway. Mommy, is the nice man still taking us to dinner? Yes, baby. Maya's shoulders sagged. I'll be here when this falls apart, because I love you both. But Sarah, please, be careful. That evening, Marcus arrived in a Bentley. Emma's eyes went wide as saucers. A princess car, she breathed. For a princess and her queen, Marcus said, opening the door with a bow. Sarah caught Maya watching from the window, fear etched in every line of her face. She looked away and stepped into the car, into the dream, into whatever fairy tale Marcus was selling. It had to be better than reality. 2 weeks of Marcus's attention had transformed their situation. He'd paid for a month at an extended stay hotel, just until you find the perfect place. Bought Emma a whole new wardrobe. Growing girls need options. And tonight, he was introducing Sarah to his world. The Meridian Club is very exclusive, he explained, straightening his cufflinks in the hotel mirror. But Alexandra Chen expressed interest in your ideas about single mother support services. Sarah stared at herself in the mirror, designer dress, professional makeup, looking like someone who belonged in exclusive clubs. Marcus, I don't have any real business experience. You have lived experience. That's more valuable than any MBA. He kissed her neck, and she shivered. Trust me. The penthouse took her breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing Manhattan. Champagne that sparkled like liquid diamonds. Conversations about yacht seasons and private jets. You must be Sarah. A woman in white Armani extended her hand. Marcus hasn't stopped talking about you. I'm Alexandra Chen. Nice to meet you. Sarah's voice came out steady, professional. He mentioned your ideas about support services for single mothers. As someone who built my company while raising twins alone, I'm very interested. For the next hour, Sarah found herself in actual business discussions. Her ideas, born from exhaustion and desperation, were treated as innovations. Alexandra took notes, asked follow-up questions, introduced her to other investors. You're glowing, Marcus murmured, pulling her onto the terrace later. I feel like I'm dreaming. Sarah leaned into him, dizzy from champagne and possibility. Like I'll wake up back in that shelter. No shelters, no more struggle. He cupped her face. Sarah, I want to take care of you and Emma. Permanently. Her heart raced. Marcus, we've only known each other 2 weeks. When you know, you know. He kissed her deeply. There's an investment opportunity, something that could set you both up for life. But I need to know you trust me. Of course I trust you. The words came automatically. How could she not trust the man who'd saved them? Good. Because I see a future here, a real future. He gestured at the glittering city. You deserve to be up here, Sarah. Let me show you how. That night, back at the hotel, Sarah watched Emma sleep in her own bed for the first time in weeks. Maybe fairy tales were real. Maybe some princes actually saved people. Maybe she'd finally caught a break. The betrayal started with fear. "Richard Blackstone is interested in you," Tiffany mentioned casually 3 weeks later. "Met him at the hotel. Worth 10 times what Marcus has." "I'm with Marcus." Sarah folded Emma's new school uniforms, trying to ignore the flutter of panic. Marcus had been distant lately, busy with deals. "Are you? Has he made it official? Put a ring on it? Set up that trust fund he keeps mentioning. Relationships take time. Time you don't have." Tiffany held up her phone. "Look, I'm just saying. Blackstone asked for your number. I said no. But if Marcus flakes..." That night, Marcus canceled dinner again. "Big deal in Singapore. I'll make it up to you both." Emma's disappointment hit like a physical blow. "He promised to come to my school play." Sarah stared at Tiffany's phone the next day while her friend was in the bathroom. "Just a backup plan. Just in case." Her fingers moved without permission, screenshotting Blackstone's contact, then scrolling through other messages about the beautiful single mom. What the hell? Sarah's blood froze. Tiffany stood in the doorway, face twisted with betrayal. "I was just stealing my contacts? Going through my private messages?" Tiffany snatched the phone. "These are my livelihoods, Sarah." "I'm sorry," I panicked. "Marcus has been distant, and So you decided to build your own roster? Cut me out?" Tiffany's voice rose. "I've been helping you. I got you into that gala. I've been lying to my boss about you hanging around. I know. I'm sorry." Desperation clawed at Sarah's throat. I can't go backward. Emma's finally happy. She's in a good school. We have somewhere to live. And that justifies betraying the one person who helped you?" Tiffany grabbed her purse. "You know what? You're on your own. When this house of cards falls, and it will, don't call me." The guilt sat like lead in Sarah's stomach. But that night, watching Emma practice for her play in their hotel room, wearing the costume Marcus bought, Sarah pushed it down. "I'm protecting our future," she told herself. Tiffany doesn't understand what it's like to have a child depending on you. But she'd started checking Marcus's stories, noting inconsistencies. Started saving those other numbers, just in case. Started becoming someone she didn't recognize. 6 weeks into the fairy tale, Sarah's Instagram looked like a different person's life. "Mommy, we're famous!" Emma giggled, watching the likes pour in on their Central Park photo shoot. Professional photographer courtesy of Marcus. Designer outfits for both of them. "Not famous, baby. Just blessed." But Sarah felt the intoxication of it. Former co-workers commenting with barely hidden envy. High school acquaintances suddenly wanting to reconnect. Marcus had made it official with a Tiffany necklace and a speech about building our empire together. The extended stay hotel gave way to a luxury apartment, temporary, until we find our dream home. Emma was enrolled at Branson Prep with a mysterious scholarship Marcus arranged. "The car will pick Emma up at 3, Marcus said over breakfast in the penthouse. His penthouse, but he called it ours. "I thought we'd look at brownstones this afternoon." "Marcus, this is all happening so fast." "Is it?" He pulled her close, and Sarah melted into his expensive cologne. "I love you. I love Emma. Why wait to start our life together?" His lips brushed the curve of her neck, sending a shiver down her spine. She felt his warmth deep inside her as he gave her some unforgettable strokes, the promise of something more, and for a moment, the chaos of her world disappeared, leaving only the intoxicating pull between them. That night, they attended another gala. Sarah worked the room like she'd been born to it, discussing investments with billionaires, her business idea gaining actual traction. Alexandra Chen wanted to schedule a formal pitch. "You're a natural," Marcus whispered, pride evident. "I knew you belonged in this world." But later, alone in the bathroom, Sarah stared at her reflection. Diamond earrings, designer gown, perfect makeup, and felt a chill. Who is this person? She thought of her mother, who she hadn't called in weeks, of Maya's concerned texts going unanswered, of Tiffany, whose friendship she'd thrown away for a backup plan she prayed she'd never need. Her phone buzzed. An old coworker from the diner. Must be nice up there in your ivory tower. Sarah deleted it and returned to the party, to Marcus, to the dream that felt increasingly like a performance she couldn't stop. The first crack came during an intimate dinner in Marcus's apartment. Their apartment, he kept insisting. They'd just been intimate for the first time, Sarah finally giving in to weeks of chemistry and pressure. She'd told herself it was love, not desperation, that the timing was right, not calculated. Now, lying in his bed wearing a silk robe that cost more than her old rent, she watched him take a business call. No, the Singapore deal is... He noticed her watching and turned away, lowering his voice. "Handle it," I said, "handle it." "Everything okay?" she asked when he returned. "Fine, just logistics," but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Later, she heard him on another call, speaking in harsh tones she didn't recognize. "The funds better be transferred by morning, or we have a problem." The next morning, Maya ambushed her at Emma's school. "We need to talk, now. I have plans. Sarah, I had a friend run a background check." Maya pulled out papers. "Stone Ventures doesn't exist. His LinkedIn is fake. The Wharton MBA? They have no record." "Stop." Sarah's hands shook. "Just stop. You had no right. He's lying to you. This address he uses? It's a mail drop. His business references don't check out. Sarah, please." "You know what I think?" Sarah's voice turned icy. "I think you can't stand that I found happiness without your help, that I'm not your charity case anymore. This isn't about me, it's about Emma. What happens when this falls apart?" Sarah glanced at Emma playing with classmates. Happy, healthy, thriving. "It won't fall apart. You're wrong." But driving away in the Tesla Marcus leased for her, doubts gnawed like termites. Why did he always pay cash? Why no photos together on his social media? Why so many business trips with vague destinations? That night, she tried Googling Stone Ventures again. Still just that bare website. She searched for Marcus Stone Wharton, Marcus Stone Investments, Marcus Stone Tech Entrepreneur. Nothing substantial. Smoke and mirrors. "What are you doing?" Marcus's voice made her jump. "Just reading." She closed the laptop quickly. He studied her for a long moment. "You trust me, don't you, Sarah?" "Of course." The lie came so easily now. "Good, because big things are coming. Life-changing things." He kissed her forehead. "For all three of us." Sarah smiled and pushed down the growing certainty that she was in over her head. Emma was happy. They were safe. That had to be enough. It has to be. Tuesday morning shattered everything with systematic precision. Sarah was making Emma's favorite breakfast, French toast with strawberries, when the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, two men in dark suits held up badges. "FBI, we need to speak with Marcus Stone immediately." The spatula clattered from her numb fingers. "He's traveling. Chicago." "Ma'am, I'm Agent Davies. This is Agent Chen. We have a warrant for Mr. Stone's arrest." The words hit like bullets. His real name is Martin Skladowski. He's wanted for wire fraud, identity theft, and running a sophisticated Ponzi scheme. "No." The word came out airless. "There's a mistake. Ma'am, we need to come in. Any documents you've signed, any accounts you've accessed, you could be implicated." Emma appeared in her school uniform. "Mommy, who's at the door?" "Go to your room, baby, now." Sarah's voice cracked. The agents showed her everything. Photos of Marcus with different women, all single mothers. Bank records showing money moving through dozens of accounts. Complaints from investors who'd lost millions. "He targets vulnerable women," Agent Chen explained. not unkindly. Women with children, financial struggles. He makes them fall in love, uses them to establish credit lines, launder money, access their networks. Sarah's phone rang. Marcus. Put it on speaker, Davies instructed. Baby, don't believe them. Marcus's voice was frantic, unrecognizable. It's a competitor, a setup. I need you to get the emergency cash from the safe. All of it. Meet me at the safe? Sarah's voice sounded dead. With what money, Marcus? Or should I say Martin? Silence. Then, Sarah, please, what we have is real, but I need that money to fix this. Think about Emma. Think about our future. Was any of it real? The question ripped from her throat. Did you ever love us? A pause. Get the money, Sarah. It's the only way to protect what we've built. She hung up and threw the phone, watching it shatter like everything else. Mrs. Martinez, Agent Davies said gently, we need to see any documents you've signed. The papers Marcus had her sign, for tax purposes. The joint accounts, to build credit. The investment documents, for Emma's future. All of it designed to implicate her. All of it making her an accomplice to fraud she didn't even understand. Emma's voice drifted from her room. Mommy, am I going to be late for school? School. The expensive private school paid for with stolen money. In the apartment bought with lies. Wearing clothes purchased with other people's savings, Sarah sank to the floor, the full weight of her stupidity crushing down. She'd been so desperate to believe, so willing to ignore every red flag for the promise of security. And now she'd lose everything. Again. Only this time she dragged Emma into a crime scene. By noon, Sarah's face was everywhere. Desperate single mom falls for Ponzi schemer. From homeless to penthouse to prison, the woman, WHO, loved a lie. They had 3 hours to vacate the apartment. Everything, every gift, every piece of clothing, every toy Marcus had bought Emma was evidence. Sarah packed their few real belongings while news vans gathered outside like vultures. Mommy, why are those people outside? Emma clutched her old stuffed rabbit, the only toy that was really theirs. We have to leave, baby. This isn't our home. But Marcus said, Marcus lied. The words tasted like ash. Mommy made a mistake trusting him. The gauntlet of photographers outside was brutal. Sarah, how does it feel to be so stupid? Did you know he was a criminal? What kind of mother puts her child in danger for money? Sarah tried to shield Emma, but the cameras caught everything. Her tears, Emma's confusion, their pathetic garbage bags of belongings. At the school, the principal waited at the entrance. I'm sorry, but Emma's enrollment has been revoked. The tuition was paid with fraudulent funds. Please, Sarah begged. She didn't do anything wrong. Let her finish the day. The other parents are already complaining. Having her here is disruptive. Emma heard it all. Understood too much. Am I in trouble? She whispered. No, baby. Mommy is. The shelter wouldn't take them. Sarah's notoriety made her a security risk. Maya's apartment was surrounded by reporters. Their old life was gone, and their new one had been built on sand. Finally, Tiffany answered her phone. Are you serious right now? Please. Not for me, for Emma. Just one night. One night. Then you figure out your mess without dragging anyone else down. That evening, Sarah watched the news coverage from Tiffany's couch. Security footage of her at Marcus's events. Speculation about what she knew. Her diner coworkers giving gleeful interviews about her gold-digging ways. Emma sat beside her, quiet and small. Are we poor again? We were always poor, baby. We just pretended for a while. I liked pretending, Emma whispered. So had Sarah. That was the problem. After a week of sleeping in Tiffany's living room and applying for jobs that instantly rejected her, Sarah stood outside Tiffany's bedroom at dawn. "We need to talk." "No, we don't." Tiffany didn't even look up from her phone. "You leave today." "I know. I deserve that. I deserve all of this." Sarah's knees shook. "But I'm begging you, any job, anywhere. I'll clean toilets, wash dishes, anything. Why would I help you? You went through my phone. You stole my contacts. You betrayed our friendship for a backup plan. Because you're right about all of it." Sarah dropped to her knees. "I became someone I don't recognize. I put my daughter at risk. I threw away real friendship for a fantasy. Get up. You look pathetic." "I am pathetic." Tears streamed down Sarah's face. "But Emma starts at a new public school on Monday. The kids already know who she is, who I am. She needs stability, and I can't provide it without work." Tiffany finally looked at her. "The hotel has a housekeeping position, graveyard shift, minimum wage. You'll be cleaning up after people like Marcus. People you thought you'd become. I'll take it. You start Monday, midnight to 8 a.m. You miss one shift, you're done." Tiffany's voice was ice. "And Sarah? We're not friends. You killed that." "I know. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank your daughter for having a mother too stupid to deserve her." The words cut deep because they were true. But Sarah had forfeited the right to defensiveness along with everything else. 4 months later, Sarah's alarm buzzed at 11 p.m. She dressed silently in her housekeeping uniform, careful not to wake Emma in their small Queens apartment. 2 rooms, but honest rooms, paid for with honest work. "You're getting faster," Mrs. Chen noted, checking Sarah's cleaned rooms. "Good attention to detail." "Thank you." Sarah took pride in every spotless surface. This work didn't lie or pretend. Dirt was dirt, clean was clean, and her effort showed immediate results. "Mommy!" Emma burst with excitement after school. "I got the lead in the spring play!" "That's amazing, baby!" Sarah hugged her tight, mental math, already calculating how to afford the costume. "It's okay if you can't come," Emma added quietly. "I know you work nights. I'll be there, I promise." And this time, Sarah meant it. She'd already arranged to switch shifts, even if it meant working doubles to make up the hours. Their dinner was simple: spaghetti with jarred sauce, salad from the discount rack. But Emma chattered happily about school, friends who'd stopped teasing, teachers who said she was brilliant. Jessica asked if we're poor. Emma mentioned casually. "I told her we have everything we need." Sarah's heart swelled. "That's exactly right." Later, paying bills at their wobbly table, Sarah felt a quiet pride. Electric paid. Rent paid. Even $20 into Emma's college fund. It would take 18 years to amount to anything, but it was real. Her phone buzzed. "Maya, proud of you. Sunday dinner?" "We'll be there," Sarah typed back. She looked around their apartment. Thrift store furniture. Emma's drawings as decoration. The simple dignity of honest living. No lies, no schemes, no princes needed. Just them. And that was enough. Sarah was scrubbing the penthouse bathroom when she heard his voice. "Sarah? My God, is that really you?" Richard Blackstone stood in the doorway, the same man Tiffany had once tried to connect her with. Handsome, wealthy, radiating the same dangerous charm Marcus had possessed. "Mr. Blackstone." She kept scrubbing, not trusting herself to look up. "I'm just finishing your suite. Please, call me Richard." He moved closer, and she caught that familiar scent of expensive cologne and possibility. "I heard about what happened with Marcus. Terrible situation." "I'm fine." Scrub harder. Focus on the tile. "Are you? Working midnights, cleaning rooms?" He crouched beside her. You deserve so much better than this." The old Sarah would have melted. Even now, exhausted and worried about Emma's dental bills, that whisper started, "One dinner. What could it hurt?" "I appreciate that, but I'm good where I am." She moved to the shower, creating distance. "Sarah, I'm nothing like Marcus. My wealth is legitimate, verifiable. I could help you and your daughter. No strings, just dinner between adults who understand each other. There are always strings." Sarah finally met his eyes. "I learned that the hard way." He pulled out a business card, pressing it into her wet palm despite her resistance. "I could change your life. Emma could have the best schools, the best opportunities. One call." After he left, Sarah stared at the card. Her hands shook. One call could end the constant worry, the exhaustion, the feeling that she was failing Emma by providing just enough instead of abundance. Her phone rang. "Tiffany. Saw Blackstone go up. Did he approach you?" "Yeah." "Sarah, tell me you're not considering it." "I said no." Sarah resumed cleaning. "But Tiff, when does it get easier?" "Emma needs braces. She wants to take dance classes. You can barely provide honestly. That's worth more than all the dirty money in the world." Tiffany's voice softened slightly. "Don't throw away everything you've rebuilt." Sarah tore up the card, flushing the pieces down the toilet she'd just cleaned. "You're right." But she'd memorized the number first, just in case. Old habits died hard. 2 months later, Emma came home sobbing. "Everyone's going to Washington except me." She threw herself on the bed. $300, that's all. Why can't we have $300? Sarah held her, feeling her heart shatter. She'd picked up extra shifts, but between rent, food, and basic needs, there was nothing left. That night, after Emma cried herself to sleep, Sarah typed Richard Blackstone's number into her phone. Just dinner. I'll be honest about needing help. No lies. He answered on the first ring, like he'd been waiting. The restaurant was discreet, elegant, removed from prying eyes. Richard was charming, sympathetic, generous with the wine. "Of course I'll help with the trip," he said over dessert. "And the dental work. Even college savings. I believe in supporting single mothers. I can't accept charity." But her resolve was weakening with each sip of wine. "Not charity. An arrangement. You'd accompany me to business dinners. I need intelligent, beautiful company. Nothing inappropriate." It sounded different from Marcus. Cleaner. "Just dinners?" "To start. Though Sarah, there is one small thing." He leaned in. "My associates are conservative. Given your recent publicity, a different name would be prudent." Through the wine fog, alarm bells rang. "A different name?" "For privacy." "Sophia Winters, perhaps?" "I have someone who can create simple documentation, just for the events, you understand, to protect us both." Every instinct screamed danger, but Emma's tears echoed louder. "Just events, nothing illegal." "Of course not." He slid an envelope across. 5,000 for immediate needs. Consider it an advance." Sarah stared at the cash. Real money for real problems. She thought of Emma's face when she'd tell her she could go on the trip. "Just for events," she repeated, taking the money. "Welcome to your new life, Sophia." The trap closed with a soft click she didn't hear over her relief. The FBI raid came at dawn 3 weeks later, just as Sarah was getting ready for another event. "Sarah Martinez, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, and money laundering." "What?" "No." The handcuffs bit into her wrists as Emma watched from the bedroom doorway. "I was just attending parties." The truth was worse than Marcus. Richard Blackstone ran an international money laundering operation, using women with false identities to move dirty money through shell companies. Every dinner had been a criminal meeting. Every document signed as Sophia Winters was a federal crime. "I didn't know," she sobbed in interrogation. "I thought they were just business dinners." "You accepted money to use a false identity," the detective said flatly. "You attended meetings where illegal transactions occurred. You signed documents with that false name. You have a history of this behavior." "That's not fair." "With Marcus, I was a victim who immediately fell for the same scam again. That establishes a pattern, Mrs. Martinez. You're either incredibly naive or complicit. Either way, you committed crimes." Maya arrived with a public defender, her face carved from stone. "I'll take care of Emma." "Maya, please." "No, I'm done watching you destroy yourself. That little girl deserves better." The trial was swift. Her involvement with Marcus, though she'd been cleared, established a pattern of behavior. The prosecutor painted her as a willing participant who knew exactly what she was doing. She didn't learn from her first experience, the prosecutor told the jury. She went right back to the same behavior, endangering her child again for easy money. 18 months minimum security, 3 years until possible parole. "Why did you do it again?" Emma asked during their first visit, her voice small behind the glass. "Why wasn't I enough?" Sarah had no answer that an 11-year-old could understand, no answer that justified choosing a shortcut over her daughter's faith in her. Day 495. Emma visited today. She's taller, more serious, speaking in careful sentences like she's afraid of saying the wrong thing. Maya says she's doing well. Honor roll, student council, dance team, all the things I wanted for her, achieved without me. She asked why I made the same mistake twice. The simple question I've spent 495 days trying to answer. The truth is ugly. I was addicted to the idea of rescue. First David, my ex, with his promises. Then Marcus with his lies. Then Richard with his crimes. I kept believing someone else held the key to our happiness. Every woman here has a similar story. We wanted better lives and thought we were too special for the slow path. We believed men who promised everything and demanded just small compromises in return. We told ourselves it was for our children while teaching them that integrity was negotiable. I had real friends. Tiffany tried to help me honestly. Maya warned me repeatedly. I had work that could have grown into something if I'd been patient. But patience felt like poverty, and I was too proud for that kind of poor. The other inmates and I talk about our kids late at night, how we justified every compromise, every lie, every risk by saying it was for them. But children don't need designer clothes or private schools or perfect lives. They need mothers they can respect. Role models who show that the hard path is the only one worth taking. When I get out, I'll have nothing. No job prospects with a record. No relationship with my daughter. 3 years is forever when you're 11. No friends left to disappoint, but maybe that's what I need. To start from absolute zero, with no shortcuts available, no schemes possible, no one left to save me but myself. The American dream isn't about being rescued. It's about building something real, one honest day at a time. It's about showing your children that integrity matters more than income, that character beats comfort every time. I chose the easy path twice. Both times it led here. A concrete cell where I count days and write letters my daughter might not read. There are no princes. There are no shortcuts. There's only the daily choice between what's real and what's fantasy. I pray Emma learns what I couldn't, that she is enough, just as she is. That anyone who asks her to be someone else, to use another name, to compromise her values, to trade her integrity for security, doesn't love her at all. 268 days until I can start proving I've learned that lesson. One honest day at a time. Sarah closed the journal and stared at the narrow window of her cell. Tomorrow she'd work in the prison library for 60 cents an hour. It wasn't much, but it was honest. And honesty, she'd finally learned, was the only foundation that didn't crumble.